Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous.
Okay, for the second time in 3 weeks, the president has threatened to round up millions of illegals and deport them. His first crack at this was on June 17th, but the mega raids Trump threatened in June never happened, just like the president's threats to wipe Iran off the map never happened. So why is the president making threats and claiming he will round up millions? Why is he tweeting that he will deport immigrants as fast as they come in? Why is he making these threats given two facts? Fact number one, warning of a raid gives illegals time to find a hiding place and time for civil rights groups to let these immigrants know a simple fact. You don't have to open your door to ICE or to anyone else who shows up at your house without a warrant. So a loud warning of an immigrant apocalypse makes the raids totally ineffective. That's fact number one. Then there's fact number two. There are 1 million immigrants with deportation orders in the United States. Remember, the president promises to deport millions. But in reality, his weekend raids could round up as few as 2,000 illegals, a mere drop in the bucket. And the president has in fact deported fewer immigrants than his predecessor, Barack Obama. So what is Donald Trump trying to accomplish with his made-for-headlines threats of roundups? Here are the guesses doing the rounds. Fox News thinks that the president is trying to bring the Democrats in Congress to the negotiating table. Fox quotes former ICE advisor Thomas Kilbride, who thinks that the president is aiming at the very least to get legislation that forces asylum seekers to stay outside the USA when they are applying for refuge. On the other hand, the LA Times speculates that the president is trying to create a diversion. Says the LA Times, the president's Secretary of Labor has just been forced to resign because of his role in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, the scandal about a multi-city sex ring recruiting 14-year-old girls outside their high schools to satisfy Epstein's sexual hungers, a scandal complete with a private Boeing 727 called the Lolita Express and a private orgy island, an entire island, a scandal about a man the president once posed for pictures with and who the president said is a lot of fun to be with. Meanwhile, the president's speeches and tweets hint that the president is using raw fear to get illegals to self-deport, and that he is using nightmare scenarios to scare would-be immigrants out of coming to the USA, which leads to another explanation for Donald Trump's highly publicized threats. Trump is a terrorist. He is deliberately creating terror in immigrants. He is rousing immigrants' stress hormones, making it impossible for them to sleep at night, and leaving them wondering every minute when and where the axe will descend. But underneath the tactic of terror is a simple fact. This president, Donald Trump, is a classic bully. He falls into a pattern so basic to our biology that we share it with chickens, chimpanzees, and lab rats. The president is a tough guy wannabe who tries to show how, quote, strong but smart, close quote, he can be by picking on those too weak to fight back. And the president doesn't know that he's in the grip of animal instincts that make his base cheer. But there are moral problems with this White House terror campaign. The Constitution says that we Americans are not allowed to use cruel and unusual punishments. And cruel and unusual is exactly what these threats of ICE raids are. They are apparently the first raids to deliberately target women, children, and entire families. And if these immigrants have to spend time in government holding pens, well, you've seen the photos, and Mike Pence just saw the reality on Friday, July 12th, up close and personal. Immigrants standing in cells with no space to lay down and sleep, and no place to sit. Floors littered with so many Mylar blankets that you have to kick them aside to plant your feet. And the stench of people who have not been allowed to shower in 40 days. Look, the president has forgotten something basic about this nation. Your country, your nation, and mine. Our Statue of Liberty says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." And George Washington, our first president, our founding father, yes, George Washington himself said, quote, "May America be an asylum to the persecuted of the earth. In other words, Donald Trump's terror tactics are un-American. This is Howard the Humongous, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make, or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for the sleazy, slimy, seditious, sibilant, little S everything. Sucker punch, off button.